All right, welcome to the Coaches Show, episode 5. Today's guest started Tampa Bay Damage in 2006 and has been leading the organization to championships ever since. Joey Blute will come on and he's going to talk about his team structure, personality, and how they continue to stay on top of the league. But first, we will hear from Hailey Leyva, who will give us the juice from the WNXL. And then Mike and I are going to bring Joey on and we will talk about some offseason player moves and how we think those will impact the league. As always, with me is Mike Bianca from the New Orleans Hurricanes. Mike, how are we tonight?
Doing very well. Thank you. Again, it's one of those bad hair nights, but that's all right.
I think you look fine, sir.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring Hailey in.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
So I feel like in this off season so far, there hasn't been a ton of juice yet, as you referred to, but there have been a couple of things. So to start off, a really cool opportunity for the women in our sport who maybe like played in the amateur division or haven't played in the WNXL at all. The Chesapeake Cheetahs are holding a tryout at the end of January 27th and 28th at CSP in Chesapeake, Virginia. So I think that's a really cool opportunity for anyone to get picked up by a WNXL team, any of the women. From what I've seen, it's $100 for the whole weekend, and I think that does include paint also. So very cool opportunity there. The juice so far from what I have is that the two Blanco sisters are confirmed to be on the Heroines next year, which is a big move because, they both played with me on Destiny the last 2 years, and now there is no longer going to be Destiny in the WNXL. So we're all kind of finding our new teams for next year, and they're two of the best players in the WNXL by far. They're tiny and they're fast. Everyone knows who they are. And they also play D2 this past year. So they have a ton of experience. And I think both of the girls help out a lot locally too in Florida. So they big names in the WNXL for sure. And they're confirmed will be with the Heroines next year. So I think that'll make them be an even stronger team. And they could definitely, they could use, I don't know. They had a pretty good team last year, but they did lose Rosie. And then they also did lose Janaea, who was one of their younger players, but she's going off to college. So they also did lose her for next year as well. And then they're also looking to fill their coaching position, because I know y'all had asked me a few times about if Brad was going to be staying or leaving, and it is confirmed that since Rosie retired, Brad is also leaving. So the Heroines will be looking for someone to fill their coaching position as well.
Any information on the prospects that the Heroines are looking at for a coaching perspective?
No, I haven't really heard anything yet. I can try and find that out for sure, because I'm also very curious to see who they're going to have to fill that spot. Like, I don't know if they're going to get like a pro player who's a coach, or maybe a retired pro player, or I'm not sure. I would assume probably an ex-pro player maybe, or I don't know. That's what I would guess, because they might have the time to help them out. Someone maybe from, I know Anthony has Boston Paintball, so maybe somebody in that area, but I don't really, because they practice in Florida too. So it could be a number of different people. But that is the juice I have for today. That is all I've got.
Yeah,
that's significant. It sounds like the Heroines are going to be quite stacked for next season.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I know they are still actually picking up a few more people, just not confirmed yet. But so they're still going to be adding to their power. So it'll be exciting to see for sure. And now playing against old teammates of mine, that'll be interesting for next year too.
How about you? You got any placement yet, or are you flirting a little with some teams?
I've talked to a couple of people. Everyone expects me to play with Vibe next year, just because they're a local Texas team, but haven't made any decisions yet on anything. So I've talked to a couple people, but I had a final today. I have a final Wednesday, and once I'm done with my finals, then I'll probably make a decision after that. And
that's probably more important.
Yeah, it probably is. I've been thinking about paintball stuff way too much. I need to focus on school. I had a final today, got that out of the way. But yeah, one more, and then I'll probably be thinking about a decision for next year. It's hard. I didn't realize how hard it was to weigh everything of what the possibilities are. And I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, selfishly, I hope you end up with Vibe, because then I can see you more often.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Vibe, and it's hard to choose because another team that I'm talking to is really good also. So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck on your finals.
Good luck on those finals. Absolutely.
Yes,
Best of luck.
I need
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's the real life stuff that you remember. Even if you're not good at paintball, you can still be good at life.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You are good at paintball,
but yeah. All right. Well,
Don't
thank you.
be better, Hailey. Just be good.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're good all the time, then you don't have to get better.
You don't have to worry about being better.
Got to write that down.
Yeah, I don't know where Mike got that, but that's a.
I don't. Yeah,
really,
that's
it's really good saying.
I think Tibetan monk might have shared that one with me.
All right,
Are you a Tibetan monk, Ryan?
I'm not. I got the same haircut though. All right, well, let's bring Joey in and we can talk through some of these moves. He will probably have some insight too on the Blancos. I know they play on, I think, the Shenanigans, which is the D2 team for the Killers, who practice with Tampa Bay Damage often. So I'm sure Joey has some insight on that. So,
excellent,
Joey,
Mr. Blute.
Mike, what's wrong with your hair?
I know.
Nice job.
Thank
Comes
you.
right in throwing jabs.
Man, that was a haymaker, but I love it. That's what I wanted. That's what I want when I'm talking to Joey Blute.
So Joey, you heard Hailey kind of talking about the Blancos. You see them a lot, right?
Yeah, no, they're out at Legacy, which is Jason Edwards' place, used to be Central Florida, same place we practice. They're out there all the time playing. Those girls put in the work. I'm sure all the girls are putting in work, but those girls are out there damn near every single weekend. So, and they hold their own. They're solid, like super solid. So that'll be a big addition for the Heroines for sure. I think losing Brad will be a bigger hit than picking those girls up. So depending who they get to coach, I mean, obviously this is the coach's show, so I can just be honest about the whole thing. Doesn't matter how good the meat is. If you don't have someone who knows how to cook it, you just got burnt meat. So I consider the coaches to be the chefs, and we're the ones that make it taste right. So it doesn't matter if it's Wagyu, if it's burnt Wagyu, it still tastes like shit.
Did we make the 30-second mark?
We did. We made it.
We had an over-under on you, Joey.
We're 7 minutes and 34 seconds into this recording. I am in the clear.
Let's talk about some of the off-season moves that have already happened and kind of get your opinion a little bit, and then Mike and I'll share ours. So Matt Jackson leaves Impact, signs with X Factor, who just split with Cody Mikowski. How do you feel about Matt Jackson going to X Factor, and how do you think that will change them?
You put the Jack of Clubs in for the Jack of Hearts. Like, you're splitting hairs. I don't think Matt Jackson and Cody are so different that you're going to see a different outcome there. I think you literally just took a heart and switched it for a club. It's the same card. Like, those guys are the same players. Like, I don't think it's drastically different. Cody may be a little bit more of a 3 than a 2, and Matt might be a little bit more of a 2 than a 3, but they play the same role. Like, they both can play that 2 role super strong. They both can play the up the middle stuff. They're both great shooters, great communicators. So do I think that's a huge improvement? Take a step back from a coach, general manager standpoint. Yes. You got a guy in Texas who you're no longer going to have to pay to fly somebody in. General manager standpoint, you're now saving $15,000 a year in travel. So yeah, that's pretty huge. As far as on the field, I don't think it's that much of a difference. TJ Danner and Jackson have a little bit of time together with the AC camp, so that may help a little bit over the Cody thing. But player wise, if he's just player for player, I don't see that being a huge advantage. Now camp wise, it is an advantage because he is local, right? Local is everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they also had time together on VCK and semi-pro.
Yeah. Those two have been together for quite some time. So that can, but it's also been 3-4 years now since they played together. People change, things change.
Yeah. 3 years. Yep.
Yeah. So honestly, the biggest news right now, in my opinion, that's going down is you coaching AC Diesel. I think that could be a giant improvement or the biggest explosion ever. One of the two. It's not going to be anywhere in between, though. It's either going to be those guys are going to come out like, holy shit, or it's going to be like, well, look at this shit show. It's going to be one of the two, though, for sure.
It's funny you said it that way because that's exactly what I've said. when people are like, "Hey, congratulations," and I'm like, "We'll see."
Yeah. No,
We'll see.
when I first heard it, I was like, ooh. Like, it's like at first I was like, oh shit, that's good. And then I was like, oh, maybe that's not good. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Because I mean, you got a lot of massive alpha personalities in that squad.
Yeah.
That obviously you look at the AC program, they got some great players. But they went through what, 4 coaches in 1 year, and like Mike Hinman he's not some new kid to the block. Like, he knows what the fuck he's doing. So when that happened, I was just like, wow, okay. I mean, they were doing better. I don't understand it. It is what it is. They may have their reasons for doing whatever they were doing, but they need stability, right? Which I think you'll bring that if nothing else, because that team is. I was talking to a couple of those guys, and I was just like, man, you guys have a built-in excuse for sucking all year. Just no stability, right? You got to have some form of continuity, and they had none of it because it was, 5 events, 4 coaches, 3 coaches, like, mess.
Yeah. Well, I think, Ryan, you make an excellent point. I think you're right. There's a tremendous amount of alpha males on that team, but I think you're bringing in, and I'm not blowing sunshine up your bahukas here, Ryan, but you are bringing, if there's anyone that can come in and start, laying waste. And what I mean by that is being the merciless God of that, universe. It's Ryan. And I think that's what I've always appreciated about Ryan. As we've gotten to know each other, we couldn't be more different from our coaching styles, but I think that's what makes you so strong, is the way that you're able to come in and take the reins and take control and say, this is the way it's going to be. This is the way it has to be. And that's that. So not that Hinman couldn't do that either, but
no, I think the biggest part about that though is going to be what the reaction of the player is when Ryan takes that approach, right? Like, right. I don't disagree. I think if they all buy into whatever Ryan's selling, they're going to be better. But you have dudes that let's be honest, they have more professional paintball experience than the 3 of us combined. Mm-hmm. Sure, I've been doing this a long time. So with that being said, those 4 dudes that they have can literally be like, no, you're wrong. And that could be the end of it right there. So I don't think that'll happen. I think Ryan's a smart dude. I've known Ryan for a number of years now. And Ryan's been around some egos. I don't know if you've been around egos as big as egos you're about to step in with. But I think that group is a very talented, special group that's going to take a hammer and a dental pick. Like, there's going to be times where you could just barely pick away at it, and there's going to be other times where you just have to smash. So it's going to be just timing and getting that right.
Yeah, and I'm excited about. I've had conversations with this point. I've talked to most of them. The guys that I think would potentially be the issue, I just kind of told them pretty blatantly, like, I make decisions based on data. That's it. If the data says that you should be on the field, you're going to be on the field. If the data says that you shouldn't, you're probably not. So if you play really well, you're going to need to play a lot, and if you don't, you won't. So, if you don't like that, sorry, like, that's how I make decisions. So I think it'll be.
I used this when I first came back to Damage this last time when I had that little hiatus there where I was gone, and I did my year with Mutiny. And then when I came back to Damage, I was brought in, and I sat them all down and I said, listen, I've been friends with a lot of you guys for 10, 15 years now. I'll be honest. I don't give a shit about any of you at all. I care about winning. And if that means I hurt your little feelings, I don't fucking care. I'm here to win. I was brought here for one reason, and that's to win. My reputation and making a winning team is more important to me anymore than any of your feelings. So that's going to be a problem for you. This isn't going to be a good team or a good fit for you anymore. And then they all bought in. So, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Right. Establishing that culture is so important, right? Understanding that, hey, this is the way it's going to be. If no one buys into this, then this isn't going to work, and let's just go our separate ways.
Yep.
I think that's perfect. And I like the way that, Ryan, you approached it. Hey, I'm data-driven. Well, I have a distinct advantage that I've got some great guys that I work with that none of them have egos. None of them. So getting them to buy into that culture is much easier from my perspective, right? So I don't have that type of challenge, but I do have the issue of, to the point of what Ryan's saying. It's emotionless. I'm emotionless in the pit, right? These are all 10 guys are great friends of mine. I am emotionless. I am a data-driven coach, and this is what it says. This is who's on fire right now. So this is who's playing, and none of it's personal. And none of it's personal. I don't make it personal at all. Now, don't get me wrong. And, I'll go ahead and admit this to both of you, but afterwards I do that a lot. I get back in my own head. I was like, I probably should have moved this guy in sooner. I probably should have played this guy here. Right. It's all hindsight's 2020, but I think both of you.
I think your evolution, I think the evolution of Mike Bianca as a coach is going to get to the point where you have to bring a little emotion into it. I understand what you're saying with the data driven and that no emotion, all that other stuff. But the difference between winning and losing is having that emotion too. Right. So you're not winning tournaments, but you have to be able to and it's not all the players, but you're going to have guys in your team when you're finally at the point where you're getting to the late rounds on Sunday, where if you can't get that guy fired up more than he's ever been in his life, you're failing your program. And I get it right now. Right now, that doesn't make any sense for you guys at all. If you did that on a quarterfinal match, you're basically getting them too hyped too soon, and that's not good, especially when you guys are the underdog still trying to make that name for yourself. But you're probably a half a season away from having to figure out that next piece of the puzzle for you as a coach, or you guys won't see Deep Sunday. And it's not even your player's fault at that point. It's you not being able to get it out of them, which that's another thing. I mean, when I came back to Damage, it took me, we had the COVID year, but it took me 2 events the COVID year, and then a full season before we got our first win. And that was basically retraining all the guys, making them understand the way it's going to work and how it's going to work, and working with each one of them. And that's the biggest thing too. Like a lot of coaches are missing out of. So all you divisional guys out there, listen to this. When you're coaching, it's not just the X's and O's, it's the personalities, right? I got Jacob Edwards, who, if I don't punch him in the chest or slap him in the face before an important point, I'm not going to get 100% out of him. But then I have Chad Bougier, where I'm like, hey, buddy, it's going to be okay. We're going to make this happen. Give him a pat on the back and we're good to go, right? And then I have Keith Brown, where I can give him information and talk to him. He wants to know X, Y, Z, and that's it, right? And then he wants me to feed off of him and be like, what do you feel like, bud? What do you think is going to work best for you, right? So this just and he knows what I want, and I know what he wants. But it's better we have that conversation than getting him fired up, right? And that's the all the divisional guys need to understand that it's player management is much, if not more, than X and O's, especially the lower divisional shit. That's how I did Mutiny.
Excellent advice, by the way. And I think you're right, Joey. I think you're right. Eventually, I'm going to have to get to that point. I actually had that conversation with the guys after World Cup. I took full accountability. I said, that's a failure of leadership, right? And that's how I act. That's how I approach these things. But I do think you're right. I think eventually I'm going to have that emotional moment, and some clipboards are going to get broken. But anyway.
Yeah, to be clear, I am a very emotional coach. Anybody who's ever been to a practice with me or heard me in the pit at a tournament, I am emotional. But I don't make the decisions about who's going to play, what my goal is for the match around emotion. Right. But I am emotional. Like when I watch players make mistakes that we've corrected multiple times, or I see 2 guys, or 3 guys sometimes all on the same job, and just because they're literally not talking to each other and they're 15 feet away, I do get emotional. Right. Yeah. So I'm not as passive as Mike, but I'm probably not as mean as some other coaches, but I'm relatively mean. People make mistakes. I want them to know. Yeah.
I've 100% flipped tables. Like after the first event last year in Orlando, I flipped tables. It was me and a player got into it a little bit, and I was like, motherfuck you, motherfuck me. And I was flipping tables, and then I took the little mic thing off and told the guy, if any of this footage ever gets out, I'll ruin you in paintball, and went about my business. It was pretty extreme. There was a lot of mean things said. So, but yeah, it's part of it, right? But that honestly, after that blow up, I didn't blow up again all year for anything, because I think the guys understood, like, no, you're not going to put this on me. You fucked up, not me. At the end of the day, I'm not on the field. I can give you the game plans. I could tell you everything they're going to do. We could talk about it until we're blue in the face. We can go every little angle and detail and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, you have to execute. You have to execute. So, and that's the same thing I did, honestly, with Mutiny. It wasn't so much about the X and O's with those guys. It was about getting them in the right mental spots that they were most comfortable to get the most out of them. Because let's be honest, when I took Mutiny over, they were a 15th place team. Like, they were not good. There was only 16 semi-pro teams at the time. The following year, we ended up going out and doing what we did, which was unheard of in that time. I mean, you had AC Diesel and Aftermath, and the Royal Sea Dogs were killing it back then. Blitz guys were killing it back then. Some of the other teams like Nasty, they're still there, but these guys were Image. That was the other good team back then. They would have been much better that year, but we beat them every single Sunday that year. Every single Sunday. It was amazing. I was like, wow, this must really suck for you guys. Because it was like we beat them in a wild card round, then we beat them in the quarterfinals, we beat them in the semifinals, then we beat them and then we beat them in the finals at World Cup. I was just like, you guys just can't beat us. So, but yeah, so I mean, that's what it is more than anything. It's just it's to me, the best coaches are good at XOs, good at scouting, but that's kind of the basic shit. If you're there scouting and watching games, you know what everyone's going to do. There's no more surprises. Not by Saturday. By Saturday, everything. Like there's no one's going to have some secret play they're holding, right? Because they had a match they needed to win. Like at some point in time, nobody's just rickrolling people. So with that being said, I know what's going to happen. So at that point, it's more of just getting the guys in the right headspace. So, and I think that's a big thing a lot of these coaches are missing. And I think a lot of it's because they just don't have the experience of actually playing up in those levels either. Like that's a big part of it. So keep that in mind. Other coaches that are actually watching this that want to learn something, I'm telling you, player management is as important as X's and O's, if not more.
I concur. I concur. So we talked about Fuzzy coming to X Factor. We talked about Ryan, AC Diesel. Ryan?
How about Frank and Tommaso leaves the Bears, signs with Revo?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of saw that coming. He was on Revo before, went to the Bears, and then that was not a good year. So he went back. I think Frank's a great paintball player. He's a great teammate from everyone I talked to. We almost made a play on him 2 years ago. It was just, timing, money, last minute stuff. We weren't able to get a deal done with him that made sense. So we just kind of backed off on that. But I think he's a great player and a great teammate. As long as he can stay healthy and keep his hamstrings good, he'll be an asset to them for sure. It'll be interesting to see who they don't play for Frank. Based off of their World Cup games. But on the same note, you never know. This is paintball, right? Like as much as we all want to make this 100% the only thing we do in our lives, we all have to have lives outside of this, either work, family, whatever. I mean, I'm carrying a 10-person roster. I had 7 people at one event. You know what I mean? Like shit happens. People get hurt. Real jobs happen. Real life happens. So you kind of got to go a little bit deeper. So in that aspect, I think it's great. I think if all of them are there, it might end up being an issue at some point in time because now someone's going to get sat that doesn't want to be sat. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't think it's a bad move at all.
More importantly, what does it do to the Bears?
Right.
Yeah. I think the Bears are definitely a little bit of they're going to have to be in a bit of a rebuild for sure.
I heard rumor even that Caputo
he's gone back to
leverage.
Yeah,
right. So Caputo leaves, goes back to leverage.
Oh, wow.
He was a big part of their offense. Now Frank, and I haven't seen that, I haven't talked to Chris, so I don't know that he's gone back to leverage.
It's all over. It's all over stuff. I'm not putting it out there like that either, but
have you seen from him?
He's posted himself in leverage stuff and all this other stuff so many times now. He has. I don't think he's officially put it out there, but he's definitely not trying to hide the fact that he's going to leverage. I mean, I'd be willing to bet a case of paint that he's definitely going to leverage. So I'm confident he's not going to be on that squad next year. So, and then, I think the Bears are definitely going to be a little bit of a rebuild, right? Like, I don't think they had a great first event and then they slowly but surely fell off. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I don't have the answer for that. I mean, I can definitely tell you they were having some issues as far as not getting paintballs out of their gun consistently. I don't know why, but they were smashing paint. And that's another thing a lot of these people don't understand. Like, again, let's go back to the divisionals. I'll help you guys out again, coaches. So I don't care who your sponsor is. I don't care how much you get for free. If it sucks at that event, go into your pocket and buy something worth a shit. Because what's it going to cost you? Another $2,000? So $2,000 to get paintballs that come out of your gun and shoot straight, or something you're blending in your gun that's then going to ruin the $10,000 you paid to be there. So just spend a little bit more money and actually get the decent paint if your paint company has a bad run of paint, which happens to everybody. That's not a knock against any branded paint. All the paint companies will eventually have an issue. Knock on wood, we're with GI now, and they bring enough different lots and brands out there that if they have an issue, you can fix it by switching to something else. And they're really, really good about having multiple trucks coming in, adjusting for the weather and the whole nine. So we've had really good luck with the GI thing. But yeah, I mean, everybody has bad paint from time to time, but you can't let that be a reason, because that's such a big reason why people don't do well. Such a big reason. When I'm seeing them blow it in their gun and then bounce off people, that's just not a good place to live.
Yeah, you did all the work to shoot the guy, and then
right,
you bounced him. Yeah,
right. After you're literally like a flamethrower out there, you get one ball that comes out and it bounces off the guy. You're just like, oh Lord.
So Mike Urena leaves Dynasty, signs with Impact.
That's big. I think that might be, player personnel wise, I think that might be one of the bigger moves. I think it hurts Dynasty quite a bit, which I'm sure you'll see Dynasty make a move on somebody. They didn't obviously use him at World Cup as much as he's been used, but he was the MVP of the third event. No, second event. Third event. No, we won the third event. Second event. Texas.
Second event.
Yeah.
Because we won the third and fourth. So yeah. So the second event, he was the MVP. So you don't accidentally become the MVP. Like, that's not a thing. So I think them losing him is big, but I understand why he left. He wants more spins, more play time. And I think Impact is in a spot with Zupa and him now that they're pretty solid over there. I don't think Axel will be back with Impact. A little juice, I'll drop it here that I heard that Axel may be going to Revo, which that would be a huge pickup for Revo. If they get Frank and Axel, that would be a huge pickup. So I'm hoping it doesn't happen, just so it doesn't get harder for all of us. But if it does, that's a big pickup for Revo. So
incredible.
Yeah, I got your juice.
That would be interesting.
That
would be a big one. Yeah.
Which makes sense though, because Impact won't take Axel back now after the end of the year thing, I'm sure. So, but I don't, at that same note, if that does happen, I'm going to Tro and being like, he's got to pick a team, bro. You can't let him do that back and forth stuff again. Like, if you're on the Tauntauns, you're on the Tauntauns.
So I did talk to Skinny before the show, and he said, I've got 9 guys plus Oliver. I don't really know that I'll make any changes. So, we'll see. We'll see, right? But
that's just him not leaking anything. I promise you they'll make a move. They're going to go 10 guys. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
They have weight. They're the only team older than us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they still have Arturo and Archie, right? But I think you might be right. I think everyone's going to keep. What was that?
Both are really old. Right.
That's valid.
So what I mean by old players is like, so look, my team, their team, same thing. One slide, someone's out 6 months. One bad slide, someone's out 6 months.
Joey, you're preaching to the choir. I hear you 100%. My average age, I think, is 37, 38 on my guys, which me personally, I don't think that's old, but I do want to say
it's old for your body.
Well, sure, in some instances, but I think it depends on that player. But I do feel like I think you're going to see this. You're going to see a lot of coaches keeping things close to the chest this offseason because of that situation last year. With the whole Diesel situation and the Axel situation in this one. And I think people are going to keep things close to the chest. So you may be onto something with this guy.
Boy, if I could just tell you guys everything. Oh,
we will wait till the camera stops rolling.
So Archie Barnes, is leaving Notorious. He's expecting a child, so he's stepping away.
Done, or is he going to find?
He's done with high-level paintball for at least a year, so we'll see. But he's stepping away to be with his family, which I get it.
Respect.
I get it. Yeah,
I can respect that as well. But let me ask you this:
complete losers leave our families for paintball.
Yeah, no kidding. Let me ask you this though: he's expecting a child. If someone comes out with the checkbook, will he reconsider? You think?
I think it's time, not money.
Okay.
I honestly don't think so. I think Archie has the potential to be a very good paintball player, but I don't think Archie's good enough for anyone to pay him. That's just being real. Like not yet. He would need another solid year of, I would almost say 2 years, more years of solid pro experience, because no one's going to pay him and then have to pay for him to get better, right? You don't get paid until you're good.
No, I hear you 100%. I agree with you. It's just, it's one of those things where you think about, okay, would he be worth the investment if you think he's going to be that kind of player? And I think one of the things, Joey, you're an incredible scout at Thailand. I know Ryan is. I look at certain players, and I've been around Archie a lot, and I see a tremendous amount of potential in Archie. And I think you're right. I don't think it's 2 years.
This is where I'm at with it anymore.
Shorter with the right mentorship and the right coaching. But
agreed. I'm at the point now where these semi-pro guys that I think have potential, they come to me and are like, "Hey, well, what are the chances?" And I'm like, "None. You have a 0% chance of getting on my team. You need to find yourself a mid-tier pro team or a very good semi-pro team and be able to play every single point. I don't have the time, ability, or funds to make you what you need to be. You have to do that on your own. Now, once you've done that, I'm going to come find you. You don't have to worry about me finding you." And I think a perfect example of that is a Connor Kelly. So a lot of people don't know when Connor Kelly made that move to Heat, he was being approached by 3 other pro teams as well. He just gave the best deal for him, and that's where he wanted to go, right? And he's also at that age where traveling sounds like a lot of fun, where the rest of us are like, "Ugh, travel." Right? So, right. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I can go away for a week. That'll be awesome. California and Texas." And I'm like, "I don't want to leave my bed. Like, what's wrong with you?" So, but with that being said, he took the move that he thought was right, but it's because he had those 2-3 years with the Kings to be able to season himself is why he got there. I mean, we almost made a plan on the year before that, but I was like, man, he's not ready. Like, if I pick that kid up now, like, he's just not ready. He needs another year. So, I mean, it kind of bit me in the ass a little bit, but on the same note, you never know, right? Like, he's a Florida boy, so they always come back.
I couldn't have paid him, so so I had no chance at him. So, and I think I'm very pleased with our pickup with Nick. I'm very pleased with our pickup. Nick, so.
Is he going to be back next year?
Nick is going to be back next year.
All right, because there were some rumors about that too.
Right.
Nick is actually he's not going to play in Europe. He's only going to play with the Hurricanes.
That's right.
Yeah. There were some rumors about that one for a minute, and I was like, I think Mike will do whatever he can to keep that one on there.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And remember, Joey, just call me and I'll tell you.
Of course. Well, it wasn't enough. I didn't hear enough that I was like, let me really dig in on this one. Because I was like, I doubt he's going anywhere. I can't see anyone else going after him yet. Now, I think in another year, I think you're definitely going to have to start. You're going to have to start batting down the hatches. And I don't know how you do that if you have no money.
Right. That's exactly right. That's why the plan is to retire after next year.
That's fair. If I can win all 5 events, I'll probably retire 2 in a row, because then what the hell's the point of doing it?
That's right. Well, that was our plan. If we had won Cup, we were just going to sell our spot.
You could have gotten at least 4 Chick-fil-A sandwiches for it, I'm sure.
That's right. We would have done that. We would have gone and played some ICPL 10-man. That's all we would have done. So
somebody would have probably given you a Gatorade and a Snickers for it, for sure.
You still owe me that Gatorade and Snickers.
It definitely wouldn't have been a Gatorade from the event, because they were way too expensive.
That Chick-fil-A Gatorade was about $8.
Chick-fil-A made more money than anybody else out there that week.
That's absolutely right. And they made a lot of money off my guys. So.
Me too.
So really quick, a little bit of news about the summit right after Las Vegas, the very first NXL next year on Monday, the 11th. There'll be an opportunity for players, coaches, team owners in a roundtable setting to sit down with Major League Paintball and the NXL to give feedback and get information. And then also there'll be some classroom settings for coaching, potential paintball field ownership, possible team creation, management, etc. There's going to be a lot more details to come with that. So the Monday of the summit, which is basically what was the old paintball extravaganza, is now kind of a new format. The first day of that will be open to the public. So paintball players, coaches, whatever, will have an opportunity to go in. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be able to walk back into the summit area where all the vendors will be, because there'll be field and store owners in there, doing business on the first day too. But there'll be an opportunity for participants of the NXL to be able to give some feedback and get information, which is cool. I love what they're doing with the summit. I think the award show thing is cool on Sunday night, and then having the kind of extravaganza thing. I remember going when I had my store in field, and it was kind of a pain in the butt, to have to buy an additional ticket to go somewhere else. I was already in all these other places going with Texas Storm. So since everybody will be there, it's just incredibly convenient, and it's one more day in Vegas. You can spend one more day, hang out. We don't have many other details yet, but it will be a neat opportunity for people to be able to get some information from Major League Paintball and the NXL.
Yeah, it's always good to have communication, and if they're listening and they're doing it and they're trying to make changes, I mean, they're definitely making moves to try to make things better. Like the new format thing they did, I personally didn't love it, but I respect the fact that they're trying to do something. Whether it's right or wrong, whatever, they're not trying to force it down our throats and say this is what we're doing. They actually wanted to get real feedback and actually get some real idea how it was going to play out. Didn't love it, but I think it's awesome that they're actually trying to do stuff and they're trying to actually grow it. It's just that careful balance. Like Ryan, you've been here long enough to see. You've been in almost as long as I have, and you've seen this routine play out. So they're walking down a really tight rope on how they're going to do this, and they're doing really good so far. But man, they have to be super cautious not to invest too much into the wrong thing at the wrong time. And that to me is the scariest part, because I honestly feel like I'm still a firm believer if we just take what we have and work on growing what we have, it'll happen on its own eventually. I think the problem we've had in the past is we keep changing everything so much so often that even if someone did have interest in it, they don't understand it because it changes all the damn time. And all the damn time could be once every 6 or 7 years, but that is all the damn time. Like Major League Baseball makes a change once every 30 years, and it's like a pitching clock, which makes the game more interesting. It doesn't actually change the game. It just makes it faster. Right.
Yeah. I agree. It seems like sometimes in the past they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater.
100%.
I do think that I was blessed to be at the IAO when they, displayed X-ball and commentated some games with Paul Bolenbach. And it was, from watching paintball kind of through the woods, and then airball kind of coming out in the 2007 World Cup, when it was just those silly, terrible, inflatable, literally rafts that ended up being 5 sizes larger than they were supposed to be. And then, hyperball was coming at the same time. Watching it move kind of from the woods into that, I thought our format, once we had hyperball and airball, was pretty good. I did understand 10 on 10 is pretty huge and it's a little hard to keep up with. When I saw X-ball though, for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is a sport.
Yep.
This is a sport. This is no longer a game. This is a sport. This is a sellable, consumable thing.
Which was awesome and shitty all at the same time, because we turned it into a sport, which then means that 30 or 40% of the current population that was doing the 10-man who are not athletes can no longer play this sport. So good and bad, right? I think that's a little point, and they're bringing it back now, right? Like we're going into the 10-man stuff and bringing all these guys back and getting more people involved in it and putting bigger bunkers on the field again and making more bunkers and making it more playable, doing more 10-mans at the events and 7-mans and all these other things to bring more people in, which is smart. But I mean, it's taken us from 2006 when they dropped the X-ball till last 3 years ago, when they started reintroducing all this stuff. Like, it's a shitload of time that we just let everything fester.
Yeah, I don't think if you ask the powers that be, they'll tell you they've made lots of mistakes.
Of course, you have to. It's business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, and I'll ask you this question instead of just giving you my opinion. Is there a time in history that you have been involved in professional paintball that you can think of where teams, like the owners, coaches, whatever it is, have had as good a relationship with the management of the league more than right now?
No.
Like the relationship that Tom has with the team owners and coaches. Is there a time you can think of in history where it was as good as it is right now?
No. And I was here for 10-man with Strange. I was part of the 7-mans, all the different 7-mans that came in and out. I've done literally from 96. I was in an IO as the first 10-man we ever played. I mean, I dated way back then all the way to now. And no, definitely Tom is very approachable. He'll talk to anybody. He listens to people. He gets a lot of information. So I'm sure a lot of it just gets dumped. But he at least is listening, right? Like one guy told me that he had a buddy of his at Vans that wanted to do a box thing, sent an email, couldn't get a hold of anyone. I saw Tom's wife. I can't remember her name right now. I'm just drawing a blank. When I saw her, I told her, yeah, there you go. When I saw her, I told her, and she's like, what? Oh my God, give me the guy's name now. And she went out actively after that, which in the past I could have talked until I was blue in the face and people would have ignored it. But if Vans wants to put their name on a damn bunker, you better go take their money and put their name on the bunker, right?
That's right.
That kind of legitimacy is huge. Yeah. Like that would turn everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Landry Logistics. I love the Grey Goose guys. I love anyone. Goose Island. Anybody who invests in our sport, I love them, and I'll do anything I can to help them. Right. But if we can get some guys who have real, I mean, dude, you think about some of these big companies' budgets. Like, if one of the Big 10 invest in our sport, we go from being the carny sideshow that we are to real. I mean, their budgets are more than our industry. Their marketing budgets are more than our entire industry. Like, and I'm not talking just tournament. I'm talking like top to bottom, every paintball sold in the world. The top 10 budgets for their marketing are bigger than the entire industry of paintball. So if you can get one of these guys to bleed in and give us 2%, 1%, that is night and day difference for us. So yeah, I mean, I love what they're doing, and I think we're making a lot of the right strides. It's just, I hope that we stay on the right path, right? And it gets hard, it gets hard. Yeah. And so, and they've seemed so far, every time they seem to stray a little bit, they always pull it back in. So, I mean, I hope it keeps going that way.
Yeah, I pressed Tom on that very topic about, the new sponsors, and it appears there are a lot on the horizon. We are moving in the right direction. We're going to get that influx of new money, hopefully that helps the sport. But I have one problem with Tom. Tom promised that he was going to take the Hurricanes to dinner our first year pro. He never came through on that. We're still waiting. But I want to jump back to something that we said. I like how you said that, hey, we're bringing that stuff back. We're bringing the mechanical 10-man back and letting some of these older players and maybe not so athletic players get back into the game. But don't you agree that the athleticism of our sport legitimizes it a little bit more, right? The pro X-ball X-back.
Yes and no. So let's be real. Like, the three of us are living in the 1% of paintball. And Brian's worked in the industry before, and he understands this. Like, literally what we do is 1% of the total nut of paintball. So maybe. I'm one of the owners of Social Paintball, right? So I deal with a lot of the tournament guys, a lot of the scenario guys, and a lot of stores and fields. With that being said, I see the big picture, and the big picture isn't what we do, right? We're such a small little microcosm of what paintball is. I don't disagree with what you're saying as far as it makes it legitimate and makes it a real sport, which is cool. But if we don't continue to grow the other side of it, the 99%, which is where we get lost a lot in paintball, right? And it's happened in the past. Ryan will tell you, he's worked for some of the biggest. He worked at one point in time, he was one of my bigger competitors, distributor-wise, manufacturer-wise in paintball. I was with PMI, he was with National, right? And we all dumped so much money into the tournament side that we kind of let the rest of it die off a little bit, as sad as it is. And that came back to bite us in the ass. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on the tournament side of stuff, where if we would have taken half of that and put it into growing fields and stores, we would have a bigger base now than we have, but we haven't because we get so short-sighted in paintball. So, and that's not the NXL's job, right? The NXL's job is to do what they're doing and keep growing what they're growing. So no disrespect to them at all. I just mean in general, as a whole, by them opening it up for those bigger guys, the guys that just want to go have fun with their friends, like which is how almost all of us started playing this. Like that to me, being able to bring that into what they're doing, I think that is bigger than anything they're doing on the pro side of paintball.
No, 100%. I think we're saying the same thing. I think you're making my point, actually, right? So by having that 2% or the 1% you were saying, in that professional tournament paintball, we're legitimizing it with these sponsors and et cetera, and moving it in the right direction from advertising and however you want to look at it. But we're at the same time, we're growing that aspect. I love the fact that we've rebranded to the Major League Paintball, MLPB. I think that's fantastic. And I think we are growing it out with the expansion, the 10-man and the mechanical and all that. I think it's all moving. There's to your point, Ryan, you made a point about this earlier. I think there's never been a better relationship between the powers that be. And so things are moving in a positive direction. I'm pretty excited about it. And quite frankly, I'm excited to be a part of it. So,
yeah, I tell my wife and kids and anyone who asks, like, if paintball was like any other sport in the world, what I can do in paintball, like if it got paid like any other real sport in the world, I would be fucking rich. Like, I mean, I'm talking like female volleyball coach, bowling coach, tennis coach. If I could do in those sports what I do in paintball, I would be like ridiculously rolling in money right now. So I want nothing more than to grow this, and I want it to grow overnight, which obviously is not going to happen. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I think it's going to be a process. And I think we're on the right steps. Again, I think we're just, it's a maze we've been running through for a long time, and we've been about this far before, and we usually end up tripping, falling, and then having to reset. So I just hope we don't trip and fall and have to reset. I hope that they can keep the course, not get lost in that California Bugatti life bullshit where you're living in $1 million house on an air mattress, right? We don't want to be those people. Like let's keep doing what we're doing and be smart about it.
Yeah, totally agree. And you made a good point talking about we've been here before. The reality though of the last time we were here is it was the first time, right? So like true. Now they've learned some lessons, they've got some experience. I talk a lot about belief versus faith, and I won't bore you with my philosophy there, but you believe things until you have experience, and then you have faith, right? Yep. And so we're at a point now where we're back in that kind of tipping point where this thing could go in a really positive direction, where you do begin to see people like Vans coming in and seeing what's happening in our game. And maybe they walk by and they're hearing something and they see a player that looks right, talks right, and has the right kind of attitude. And they go, hey, we need somebody that we can use to market to this. And they pick that guy, and now they're paying that person a little money. It gives them some insight into the game. It gives them a foot into the game. And now we're rolling, right? And it really just takes one or two of those to really help us get over that tipping point and get going in the right direction. And Tom made a good point that I think piggybacks on what you said really well. All of those stores and fields and those recreational players, scenario players, and even the amateur 10-man and even the pro 10-man guys, it's about being able to maximize opportunities for viewers, right? Like getting them to even have some interest in the fact that there is a professional paintball league and you can watch it, and here's how you watch it, and here's where you can see it. Here's the YouTube channel. Those are the things we need to start getting in my opinion, that we need to start getting better at, right? Like, I made this comment to Tom, like it's hard when you're talking to the pro teams and you're telling them that you want them to carry the burden of trying to educate when the fields that they're playing at aren't the fields we're talking about. They already have they have a tournament paintball field. People know at those paintball fields, there's tournament paintball. It's the other ones. And we don't have access to those because we don't go there. When we go to practice at another field that has a tournament field. So I don't know the right answer there. I do think it's going to be up to social paintballs and GIs and Valkens and you guys to really get the word out there where the understanding can be that there is this professional league and here's how you find it, right? And you have a team maybe close to you that you can be a fan of, and here's their social media or whatever. Yeah. And that's where I think we have to get to. So.
No, I don't versus faith. I use that one in the Sunshine State with my guys. So good stuff.
Well, Joey, let's get into damage. Let's talk about 2023 real quick. You guys have 2 first place finishes, a second, a 10th place, and a 5th place. What grade would you give your group for the season?
A B.
Okay. Why?
Okay. The 10th place. I mean, it was an overtime loss to Impact. But we shouldn't have been in that situation. We have to be better than that. So it always comes down to a call or something like that, whatever. But at the end of the day, I always go back to my guys and I'm like, and this is another thing, feel free to steal this divisional coaches because you need to. This is huge. So I go to my guys when they try to blame anything other than themselves. And I just point out to them like, okay, fuck that point. What about the other 3 points we lost? Let's address what we can fix, because you can't fix anyone but yourself. There's nothing you can do to make the reffing good. But if you don't suck ass in the first 3 points, that 4th point where the ref screwed us, we don't lose the actual tournament. So I've drilled that into my guys now since I've been back, and it's starting to work. Like you can see it. Obviously, we wouldn't be winning tournaments and making the finals and doing as well as we have if they're not buying into that program as well, because it's so easy. Right. So easy. Oh, we lost because of this fucking ref call. Like, dude, no, we lost because of the 2 points before the fucking ref call. If you don't lose those first 2 points, that 3rd point doesn't matter. So, and that's a huge thing I see with a lot of divisional guys. I mean, hey, how'd you guys, bro, walk through an event and be like, how'd you guys do? Oh, we got knocked out. We got screwed by a ref call. What was the score? 4-5. Oh, you got screwed 4 times or 5 points in a row? Like, if you didn't get screwed all 5 points, the refs are not the reason why you lost. So, and that's a huge thing I think a lot of the other coaches really need to grab a hold of. And you start drilling it into them, it doesn't always work, but if you start drilling it into them, it could help. So I think that's a big thing.
I always try to tell, especially, divisional players, because I do think once you get to the top, a lot of times you don't hear that the ref screwed us kind of thing. Because I think everybody understands the refs are human beings. If you're going to a tournament and you expect the refs to be perfect, don't go to the tournament, because you are going to be incredibly disappointed.
Yeah,
right?
You're an idiot if you think the refs are going to be perfect.
That's right. You have to set your expectations appropriate, right? And the expectation is they're human beings. They're going to make mistakes. So I have to do everything in my power to make sure that I can control all the other elements that I can, so that I don't have to worry about when the ref is going to make a mistake, because it's going to happen. It's gonna. And there's nothing you can do about
to make a
it.
Mistake. No one cares. If you're a tie game and you lost 3 points and then the ref call happens, honestly, that's as much on you as it is the refs. You shouldn't have been in that situation.
Totally. So, yeah. Absolutely. Agree.
So no, I would say that 10th place finish, honestly, that put us in a really bad way. I think that's a huge reason why we ended up winning the next 2 events, though. You got to take your lumps to be able to come out on top. So I think that was the last of the bad lumps we took. Obviously, World Cup, we did get the finish we wanted, and this has always been an issue of damages, and this has meant no disrespect at all to Revo, because they played really well, but we tend to play down to our competition, and Revo played really well. No disrespect to them. They beat us. No doubt about it. They 100% beat us. So that's not meant to be a knock at them, but if we were playing Heat or Impact or Dynasty or X Factor or the Hurricanes, because when we were playing the Hurricanes, they were 4-0 going on all their stuff. They were actually higher seeded than us. When we get into those games where we're playing a team that's higher seeded than us or better than us, we play really well. If we're playing a team that's not at that point, we tend to go out with the mentality of we're going to win this instead of we have to win this. And no one's going to give you shit in this league. And if you're playing on Sunday, you're a good fucking paintball team, period.
Right.
So, but you can go back to the first event we won. We went 2-2. We lost to NRG. It was the only match NRG won the whole tournament. And then we went out on Sunday, beat Revo down 6-0, then beat you guys, I think, 3-1, and then went on to beat Heat and then X Factor in the finals. Right. So, but that was that again, when we went out and played NRG, it was a game we're going to win. And we went out and just completely shit up the joint. So it just tends to be what we do, where if you're not a team that the guys all feel are on our level, quote unquote, which obviously if you're playing on Sunday, you're on our level. But getting over that hump and that's been a hump that Damage had from way back in the day. I mean, hell, before I left the 5 years I was away, the last event that we won was in California, and we lost to Top Gun, New Jersey Top Gun. It was the only match New Jersey Top Gun had won ever. We lost to them and went on to win the tournament. So we, and unfortunately with World Cup, we were in the bye round. So we only had 3 matches. We won all 3 of those matches. We were obviously tested. It was hard. We had to go to OT to beat Tauntauns. You're not going to get, Dynasty's never going to give you shit. You have to take it from them. But we know that, right? So playing those guys, playing Heat, Tauntauns, and Dynasty, we went out with a different level of we're going to go, right? We have to take it from these guys. When we went out against Revo, it was more of a, we'll get this, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's definitely, it pisses me off because I saw it happening before the match. And I even went to the guys and I'm like, hey, like, fuck that. These guys are going to come out and try to take our lunch. Like, they're going to take your money. They want to go in and burn the village and kill all your family members. Like, wake the fuck up. Like, this is not going to be easy. We have to go out and fight. And, it is what it is at the end of the day. We fucked up, everyone wants to look at the last point and blame it on that, but that's not even where the issue came. The 2 points before that's where the issue came, right? Because we lost 3-2. So fuck the last point. Don't lose the first 2, and the last point doesn't matter, right? So that was the mentality I had afterwards, and that was part of the discussions we had afterwards. Was like, it's not the last point. It's not him doing this and him doing this and him doing this is why we lost. We lost because we lost 2 points prior to that. Yeah. So,
Quit looking at what your opponent did and start looking at what you did and what you should have done. So that you've got to
fix.
That's right. What can we fix? We control what we can control.
In general, when you're talking to your players, what can you fix? You can only fix what you can fix. You can't fix everything else. Fix your fucking self, and the rest will fall into place.
That's right. So, I can't help the fact you missed that easy shot on that guy. It's not that guy playing better than you. That's you playing crappy. Yep. So, that's the most basic form, but that's exactly what we're saying. So,
yeah. But no, so I'd give us a B for the year. I don't think it was obviously I think we had a good year for sure, but I think the 10th place is unacceptable. We should be and my prediction at the beginning of the year I have a thing I do with CJ where we actually sit down and talk and go over goals for the year and what we expect to have happen. I expect it to be in the finals at 4 events, and I expect it to win at least 3 events. So I didn't meet what I wanted. So it was a failure of a year, in my opinion, because I rate myself an A or an F. There's no in-betweens. It was a pretty good year. You either do what the fuck you say you're going to do or you failed. So when I talk to CJ, I consider it a failure of a year. He doesn't. He loves it. He thinks we did great. And we did do great compared to the year prior, but that's not what the goal was. I didn't reach the goal, so it was a failure to me, which means I'm going to come out harder next year. I'm making the guy. I mean, I don't think the guys have missed a day of practice they've been out there every single weekend, at least one day, even the weekend after World Cup. Like no one's taken any time off yet.
I think you guys had a great year. You should tell them to relax. Take some time off, take 6-8 weeks off, maybe eat a lot of hamburgers.
I also feel when you're coaching the AC Diesel guys, you should really, what I really think you should do is you should go to J-Rab and just tell him to shut the fuck up a lot. Like just lead with that. Just immediately, as soon as he says something, say, shut the fuck up. I think that will give you the complete and total alpha control you need of that situation.
Thank you.
You take my advice, I'll take your advice.
Amazing feedback. I'll see what I can do for you. So
I see what you did there, Joey. Well played.
So I every time like the camera kind of goes to the pits for you guys, I hear you talking a lot to your guys about things like accountability and jobs. I hear you say a lot like do your jobs, be accountable. Describe kind of like situations where you felt like your guys were kind of lacking accountability. What did you see that made you feel that way, made you make those comments, and then what was the outcome?
So we're not your typical team, right? There's probably 3 teams in paint, 4 teams, no, 3 teams, because X Factor's close, but I think they've taken a couple steps back. Archie and Rainey leaving that team, that definitely knocks them down a notch. They're still a really good team, still a super competitive team and a really good team. But I think at our point, we're top to bottom so deep with experienced players that I don't need to necessarily even tell them what their mistake was a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. I do. I don't normally do it during the match because depending, again, Jacob Edwards, if I fucking yell at him and tell him he fucked up and how he fucked up and I do it in a really aggressive manner, he plays better. Some of the other guys, if I do that, they'll fucking crumble, right? So I tend to just try to keep it as a broad stroke. Like, you fucked up when you fucked up. These guys are all been doing it long enough and all experienced enough that they know the mistakes they made. Afterwards, we'll go over it and I'll definitely, because I take detailed notes and I'll break it down on them and be like, this is exactly what you did wrong, dummy. But during the match, it's more of if you get them 2 up, it's going to dump, right? You can only go so high before you go down. So I try not to be the reason why they go up. And when they go up, I try to bring them down because I don't want them to dump too soon. Because you don't want to dump into the last point of the last match, which is hopefully the finals.
Right.
Because then you have to rebuild all the way back up. So I always try to, when I tell them to, be accountable, know your mistakes, fix your mistakes, do your job, right? Because at the end of the day, it's paintball. If everyone does their job, if you have a game plan and everyone does their part of that game plan, you'll be successful. Period. So, and I also believe in my guys probably more so than anybody in paintball. Like, if we're 3-on-5, I still feel like we have the advantage 80% of the time. And I know a lot of other people are quick to blow horns and blow buzzards. I'm like, fuck that. 3, where are we at? Those spots? Yeah, these guys are fucked, right? Because, and I think the problem I'm running into now, though, is a lot of people realize even at 3-on-5, they're fucked. So they just stop coming, right? And then they try to force us to come after them with our 3 on their 5.
Yeah.
Which that then in turn makes it so if we're winning the match and we're 3-on-5, we can't go. And they're not going to go because they know if they go, we're going to fucking shoot them. Right. So a lot of people think that we play slow. We don't play slow. We play what we're able to play. If you let us go, we'll go. But if you don't let us go, we can't go.
So that leads me right into my next question. What is damage paintball?
Winning.
Winning.
I've answered this question.
Yes.
It's winning. It's doing whatever.
I know you have.
Like if you want us to go, like trust me, you can ask Mike. When we played them, the last time we played them in a semifinal match, I sent Chad to the 300, which is the Dorito 3. Yep. On the break, which was a big bite on that layout. And I did it for one reason. If Chad makes that bunker, there's no way they win. Mm-hmm. It's physically impossible. He gets there. They can't shoot him out. All he has to do is shoot the cross the whole time.
That's right.
And if he shoots one of those guys on the snake side, we're going down the snake with Keith. And I know Mike knows that. So I'm expecting Mike to put multiple guns up that way. And I believe you had 2 guns on him, and he just got through it.
I did.
We'll take bites. We'll do what it takes to try to get to those spots. But only if it makes sense. I'm not going to fucking just run to run. Like my guys are way too good for that. If I get 5 guys alive off the break, I feel like we're going to win 90% of those points.
Yep.
And
now I and Maddie had that conversation. I think it was in Philadelphia where they're talking about defensive paintball. And I made the argument. I don't think we play defensive paintball. I think we play the way the field needs to be played against the opponent we're playing.
Yep.
And I think you and I kind of connected on that. So I agree with you. You know, we're not afraid to go, right? We're being compared to you guys. Like we're the Wish version of damage, right? So
honestly, if you could be us, then that's a good place to be. We went to events.
Right. And I'm like, I'll take it. Right. So and once we get a little bit higher quality, we'll be great. But no, the point is that, you know, that's what we do. Like we're not afraid to go either. And I've got some great gunfighters. And so I'm with you on that. I understand where you're coming from.
Now, don't get me wrong. So like this is the best way I can describe paintball. Friday is not real. Friday is not real paintball on the pro level. Because Friday, everyone thinks they're in and everyone's doing all kinds of dumb shit. Saturday is when it starts to get real, right? So what you see on Saturday, except for the teams that know they're out because they're already 0-2 with a shitty margin, besides them, everyone else that has a chance of making it into Sunday, that's real paintball, which is why paintball on Friday looks so much fun and so explosive. But it's because you have, 6 teams that are going to be out by Saturday morning.
Right. Yeah.
So they're running around like idiots trying to get a win. And if you know you're outclassed, the best thing you can do is try to knock somebody out before you get knocked out.
Throw
haymakers. So you're going to the snake, you're running to the 300s, 500s, you're running through the middle, like you're doing all that stuff because that's the only chance you have.
Right.
I just came from that environment.
Occasionally.
I had to.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I know.
I had to.
We've talked about that.
Yeah,
so
I didn't have enough talent.
I actually stole one of your plays at World Cup when I watched you doing that run up to that box on the snake side on that cross.
Yeah.
I was like, that was really smart. That was one thing we had fucked with it a little bit at practice, but it didn't seem to be effective. And then when you did it, I was like, oh, that's effective. That's real effective.
Yeah, and it's a good launching point. Yeah. So any changes we should expect for the off season?
Honestly, like it would have to be something stupid. Like it would have to be one of the guys that, that would help us out and also hurt somebody else. Yeah. That's a lot of moves that a lot of people don't think about. So a lot of his moves, like the arena leaving Dynasty, that's an addition by subtraction.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Impact gets better, Dynasty gets weaker. So if Impact gets 20% better and weakens Dynasty 10%, 5%, that's a 25% swing Impact's way when they play Dynasty. Right. So them taking arena helps all of us.
Right.
So,
well, it's interesting because didn't you have 12 on the roster at Cup?
I did.
Yeah. Now, walk me through that. Really, I mean, how does that work? How do you develop lines? How do you have them? You got to break them up to 1s, 2s, and 3s. Develop lines, have them spar, or how do you determine that starting 5 in those forces?
So when we practice, we usually bring 3 teams in. I mix the lines up on the first day. We usually go out on Friday, play ourselves. We'll cut it into 2 lines. I even out the powers, so it's fairly even lines, right? So the guys that I know, the pro final guys, and then the other guys, no one on my team is weak, but the pro final guys and the other guys, I mix them up. So it's a balanced lines. We bash each other into the ground. And I start to watch players there, watch their tendencies, because I honestly believe that we practice ourselves better than anyone else will. And a lot of that is because we know everything everyone on the team is going to do and how they're going to do it. So I learned a lot about the players, even on that first day doing that. And then the next day, we have 2 teams we bring out there. We'll usually run like sets of 6, where we'll play 6, go down the other side, play the other team for 6, then walk off. And during that time, I'm mixing the lines up on Saturday a lot. Sometimes I just go first 5 guys out there, play. I don't give a shit who it is, just to see how they play together, see who's clicking, see who feels good. And then a lot of the times after that on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, I'll start talking to guys and I'll be like, hey, who are you most comfortable with? Who did you enjoy playing with? Who do you feel better with? Right. Because a lot of this paintball shit is not necessarily even like the guys. My roster's so deep and the guys are so good. It's, if Chad says, I like playing with Chris. Chris feels really good with me on this layout. I really think Chris and I are going to be great together. Cool. Put that on a little sheet of paper, write it down, go to Jake, and Jake goes, man, I really, really, really want to play with Chad. Chad is the one over there, feels great. Cool. I put it down, and then I go over there and I'm like, yeah. And Marky's like, yeah, I want to play with Jake. Cool. All right. And then I figure out who's most comfortable with who. And then I set lines up the next day on Sunday based off of that. And then see how it clicks, right? If it goes good, great. If I can run 2 lines, I'm running 2 lines. Everyone knows me knows I would prefer to run 2 lines top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's so much better for the guys. It's so much better for the event. The dudes are fresh, nonstop. Like everyone's great. Now there is the other side of that is you don't get as much of a rhythm going when you do that. So on Sunday, it usually gets a lot harder to do that. So traditionally it ends up going down to power 7, power 6, sometimes just a 5. Weather's good. You can usually run the 5 guys that are playing the best, and that's what you go with. And then everyone else understands it's not a favoritism thing with me. I literally give 0 shits. I just want to win, right? Everything I do is just to win. I have no interest in politicking and being friends or any of that stuff. When this is all said and done, I'll probably hang out and talk to 4 or 5 of those guys. Ryan, you've been on a million teams in your paintball career. You probably, outside of being around them at an event, talk to maybe 4 or 5 people.
I've only been on 2 teams ever.
Get the fuck out of here. Coaching wise.
Oh, I've only coached 3 teams ever.
Okay, so 3 teams, that's at least 30 people. How many of those people have you ever actually talked to on a regular basis?
Like a handful.
That's my point. Mike, how long have you been doing this? You've been doing this a long time.
I've been doing this a long time.
All the people you played with, hundreds of people you've played with or you've coached or you've been around, not counting the guys you're currently with on a weekly basis, how many of those people do you actually spend any real time with?
Yeah, it's a handful.
So with that being said, I realize when this is over, right? People that are my friends will be my friends. Everyone else, they'll go about their life. I'll go about my life. It is what it is. And it's kind of a harsh reality, but it's the truth. It's the truth, and it should be the truth for any of us as coaches, because at the end of the day, if you're not here to win, if you're not here to do whatever it takes to win, if that means hurting your friend's feeling, then you shouldn't be fucking doing it, because you should put winning in front of everything. And that's the truth of it, right? Like that should be the truth of it at the professional level.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
here for sure.
Yeah. And that's actually a good transition. You kind of touched on this earlier, right? You talked about, it's more important, maybe more important than X's and O's is knowing your players. You claim not to be a coach, right? You kind of said that I'm not really a coach, but how do you handle the X's and O's?
I just get lucky.
Joey, I mean, I think people are genuinely interested in how Joey Blute does that, right? I mean, how do you develop that sort of thing with the guys?
I close my eyes, hold my breath, and just hope everything goes good. No, I mean, honestly, let's be real. Like after the first Saturday, I'm pretty confident that the 3 of us could probably call each other and have the same play.
Yeah.
And realistically, what that play is after the first Saturday. And once you know that play, it doesn't really matter anymore. Like that's what you're going to do to win the fucking tournament. Like there may be some little crinkles that show up along the way, but you're going to know what it is. And there's usually 3 bunkers that everybody plays no matter what. Right. So I only need to figure out the other 2. Can I make the snake on the break? That's the first thing to figure out. Can I make it consistently on the break? Okay. If I can't make the snake consistent on the break, can I make the corner? Right. These are the basic things that we all do.
Yep.
So As far as the layout's concerned, as far as what I do, I keep it really, really simple because paintball is not difficult. We make it difficult, but it's not difficult. You know where you're going to go. You know where they're going to go. You just have to win your gunfights. The only thing that I have to get across to you is who's shooting where. And a lot of the times the guys will handle that on their own. They'll get on the board and be like, which way are you shooting? Because we've practiced this. We've gone over it a million times. Which way are you shooting? Which way are you shooting? Cool. Like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. All right, I'm shooting this. You're shooting that. Cool. Perfect. Let's go. Right. So they'll do that in the pits. They'll have those little discussions. But as far as where they're going, I'll walk over to Keith and I'll be like, hey, so you got shot going to the snake. Was it a good lane or did they get lucky? Joe, they got lucky. Okay, cool. Let's do it again. You want to do it again? Yeah, let's do it again. Okay, cool. Let's do it again. Like, what do you feel better? They're going to go to the corner? Yeah, let's go to the corner. Okay, go to the corner. Like, I let them kind of pick where they want to go.
Yeah.
And then we base it off of that. And it's again, with my guys, because they're so experienced and they've been doing it so long, it's not like I have to fight with them about it or anything like that. And honestly, I'll do that. I actually, that's one of the tricks I do is I'll ask him, like, who's comfortable? Are you comfortable playing that can? And then Jacob's like, no, I hate that can. I'm like, cool. Note to self, when we need to play the can, I play Chad there. It's just that simple, right? I'll just make the switch and not even let him know I'm making the switch.
So
Smart.
Yeah, that is smart. So let's see, I believe you started coaching damage in 2008. Is that correct?
2006 D2 is when I took over their program.
Okay. Well, okay. So 2008, you went pro.
Yes. 2008, we went pro.
All right. And then I believe you left in 2011, 2012 to go coach Sacramento DMG.
No, I never coached DMG. 2012, I left, and then I just literally took 4 years off. And I came back for the Mutiny. It was my first time coming back to coach again. And honestly, when I first did damage, I wasn't the coach. It was Paul Richards and Skinny Kevin that were doing the coaching. I was just doing the management side of it, which honestly is pretty much what I do now, except now I have a little bit more details as far as I have to figure out the fucking lines and deal with the stupidness like that, like all the dumb stuff that you and I, the three of us would love to not have to deal with, but you kind of have to. It's kind of part of the job.
Right.
So I would do all the other little stuff, which is a big reason why damage was so successful, because the little shit's the shit that makes the biggest difference when you have an elite team.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's the little things that win on Sunday.
You came back to Indianapolis Mutiny in what? You came back to Mutiny in 2018?
Hold on, let me check. Let me check the ring here.
Yeah. So it should be 18, and then you returned to damage
18.
midway through 19, I believe. And you've been pissing the establishment off ever since, which I love. Did you learn anything valuable through that hiatus? Like when you came back to damage, or has Joey Blute been Joey Blute since 2008? Was there any type of evolution? Because you gave me some great advice at the beginning of the show about eventually having to have that emotional, reaction. Was there an evolution in the Joey Blute?
Yeah. So
did
honestly,
you learn anything
I think
from Mutiny or anything?
No, I think the Mutiny year was probably one of the biggest eye-opening years for me. So like if you have a team that can win, like, and you're winning with them, you're good at what you do, right? Like I knew I was good at what I did, but I didn't know how good I was until I did the Mutiny year. And that's not me just blowing smoke up my ass, but like I literally took a team that was 15th place in semi-pro. I added one player and myself, and we were 0.25s away from winning a pro spot. Like with the same roster that couldn't get out of 15th place at World Cup the year before. Like, they were bad. So I knew, like, my program, the way I run things, the way I deal with people, the way I handle stuff, I knew at that point, like, it changed a little bit, right? Because having to deal with those guys, and the way you coach a semi-pro team is 100% different than the way you coach a pro team. 100%.
For sure.
Agreed.
So when I did that, it was definitely a little bit different, obviously, than the way I do damage, but it definitely helped me hone the skills a little bit more, for sure. Like I definitely got a lot out of that year. And honestly, that was probably, dude, I've won countless pro tournaments already with damage between 7-man and PSP and NXL and all that other stuff. And honestly, that year with Mutiny was probably the most fun I ever had in paintball, because it was not supposed to be. Like, it was a damn Disney story for the ghetto. Like those dudes were thug life and we were winning. Like, we shouldn't have been winning. Like, we shouldn't have been. And honestly, you can go through that team now and look where the guys are, and a bunch of those guys have made the jump back to pro, between David coaching and playing with Aftermath. Andy Horvath was with AC for a number of years, just recently got let go from them. I don't know what he's doing now. Elias is with ML Kings. Dan Norcross played with the Ironman before he got a real big boy job and had to give it up. And then, of course, Brian is back with me on damage.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
Andy's
excellent.
playing with Mutiny again. Or at least he was on the roster. So,
yeah. But I mean, with that being said, like you have like 5 guys that I had there that were castaways that no one gave a shit about that all made the jump back to pro after 1 year of me doing shit with them. And I've since talked to like David Ramirez and stuff, and he's like, look, man, I got coached by you, I got coached a little bit by Tro and a couple other people, and I try to take a little bit from everyone. But if you watch Aftermath play, they're like a new version of what damage is. Like Aftermath, when they were successful and doing well, they're not making mistakes. They're playing mistake-free paintball and dragging people to the deep end.
Yep. Because
that's what we do better than anyone. We drag you to the deep end because I know my guys will out-tread water you, and we will beat you in the long points.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys
are. That first point had you. I had all the spots. Had you 5-on-3.
I had faith in my 3 guys.
I know you did. I know. And I'm sitting here going, I'm like, I can't believe this because I had you pegged, man. I knew exactly what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And
dude, when you did the one play and you stopped shooting the snake side and put 4 guns on the fucking Dorito side and beat us that point, I was like, this motherfucker, what is he trying to do to me? 4 guns on the Dorito side? You let me take the snake? What are you doing? But then you shot 2 guys and I was like, God damn it. Then I was like, all right, fine. I guess I'm gonna actually have to coach this time instead of letting them do what they want.
Oh man, I've just really enjoyed one of the things. I just want to tell this real quick, but really enjoyed speaking to you and getting to know you, just like I have with Ryan and all the other guys in this division. It's been a truly eye-opening, and I appreciate every bit of advice I get from you guys. So,
So Joey, kind of lastly, 2 questions. One of our goals here is to try to give as much data and resources to young coaches as we can. How do you collect data? And then sort of what are you looking for in the data that you are collecting? And then how do you use it?
Yeah. What's in that backpack of yours?
It's very mostly monsters and water and lenses, but it's very similar to what everyone else does. We write down what the locations are, the bunkers down one side, and then the points across the top. And then point 1, you put a 1, whatever spots, if they double the home. And then I'm always right side snake, left side Dorito. I put a little line which direction each guy is shooting. So if there's one home guy and he's shooting snake side to the right, so I know which way that guy's shooting. And then you get the splatter effect where you can kind of get an idea of what their tendencies are. But then I also take detailed notes. Like if I'm playing a team that I'm going to see Sunday, like when I scout a Dynasty or an X Factor or a Heat, when I'm scouting those guys, or even Hurricanes this year, unfortunately, you made me waste my time at World Cup. Thanks a lot, asshole. Yeah, you did that just to fuck me. I know what you did. You guys.
That's what it was. It was all for you, Joey.
It worked. So, but when I scout those guys, I'll take notes. Like I pay attention to certain players. Like on Mike's team, I'll look for Bell. Right, what's Bell doing? I think honestly, as much as everyone gives Ripple credit and some of your other guys credit, I think Bell is he's the difference maker on your team, right? So I try to isolate.
Totally agree.
Well, he's not even the closer. I think that's a pathetic understatement of what he does. So,
it was.
Yeah. I think what he does is he's the difference maker, right? Like every team has at least one. Some teams like Dynasty have like 3. So when I watch a Dynasty, I watch Archie, I watch Ryan, I watch Marcelo, right? Those are the main 3 guys I'm watching. And that's no disrespect to the rest of those guys, but those are the guys that are going to be the difference between us winning and losing. I'm willing to bet my front guy and their front guy are going to trade more often than not, right? So what are those other guys doing? What are the guys that are going to close the point out doing? Where's when Archie goes to the corner, which way does he look for when he first gets there, right? And I do a little note and I pay attention to that. So when we get into the Sunday play stuff, I can get a little more in depth with, of the 12 points I watched Archie play or the 15 points I watched Archie play, he went to the corner 4 times. All 4 times he went to the corner, he shot inside. When he goes to this can, he has tendencies to play heads up. He plays heads up. If he's playing heads up, Marcel is playing heads up. If he's playing cross, Marcel is playing cross. And this is where Marcelo plays, and this is how many times he plays it, right? So certain teams I'll get into the weeds with. Other teams, it's just a splatter effect, right? Like if it's a team I don't recognize, like when we play the Saints, I don't know any of those guys. I mean, I know a couple of them, like I knew Gregory and Evan Manor and a couple of the other guys, but it wasn't anyone I was really like, okay, I need to pay close attention to this guy. So I would just do the map on them, figure out where they're going, where they're shooting, and then we adjust accordingly, right? And the same note, if I'm watching one, someone else is watching the other on the breaks, and then I get in the weeds with the rest of it. If someone's getting sweet spotted consistently, who's shooting the snake every time? Oh, it's this guy. Cool. So we don't go to the snake if number 24 lines up here, right? So it's that kind of stuff. You know, it's not like Skinny's fucking drawing pictures with teepees and fucking wigwams and whatever other shit he's doing on there. Like, I'm not an artist like he is, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, one of the cool things about what we do is everybody does it a little bit differently,
right?
And as long as it works, who cares?
Yep.
Like if you don't need all of the squiggles and TPs and whatever,
right?
Great, right? Like if it works for you, you don't have to do that. Like, and that's one of the reasons we keep we're like pushing out resources to these coaches so they understand like everybody does it a little bit differently, and these things may be important to me because my group may be not as talented off the break. So I need more information about how the guy goes into the spot so that I can tell that guy. So everybody is in different places with their group, but we're all trying to get to the same place, right? We're all trying to get to where the path is going to look different for everybody, but we're all trying to get to the same destination. So we just want to try to give people an understanding of this is how I collect data and it works for me. Right. And so if that's how you do it and it works for you, great. That's awesome. And then so you get that stuff and then you just share it with whomever needs to know that, right? Like, hey, if you step out on the box and you see 24 lined up here, don't go to the snake. Even if we've called that, don't go. Just audible out of it.
Audible out of it.
Yeah. Good.
And a lot of that stuff, honestly, like there's a lot of times that the plan gets changed on the board based off of personnel that shows up out there because the guys are informed enough for what these guys do that if all of a sudden you see Marcelo, Ryan, and Archie on the snake side, you're like, oh, wait, what the fuck is that? Right. So a lot of the times we have codes where we call out certain things. So if we see it, we'll call it. Hopefully they hear it. If not, they'll call it to each other and they have a second play or an audible based off of master personnel switches. Now, so with all this being said, on the divisional fields, when I did mutiny, I didn't do any of that shit. Scouting was not important. Fixing your camp is what's important. That is the most important thing you need to do in divisional stuff. Obviously, knowing what other people do helps, but if your camp is not perfect, spend more time making your camp closer to perfect before you spend a shit ton of time scouting all these teams and doing all this stuff and expecting your guys who don't know what perfect is to be perfect. Right. So that's a big piece of advice. When I did the mutiny year, that was one of the biggest things. It was more of I give the guys exact plans on what they're going to do, and then I tell them to leave. I don't even want them to watch games because then they get stupid ideas and come to me with bro, I watched this guy do this. I should blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up. You're not doing that. You're dumb. I'm smart. You're going to do what I say. Right. And it's just a different mindset, right? With those guys compared to like the damage guys. If Chad comes to me and says, hey, I want to go to 500 on the break, I'll go, all right, cool. Chad's going to 500. We're going to go short on the snake side now, guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that simple. Right. But with the divisional stuff, I don't give them as much say on what they're going to want to do. I give them the basic game plan. I give them the basic idea of what the other team should do, which I'm pretty confident they're going to do, right? Based off of what everyone else is doing. And then they have to perform. I think a lot of the divisional guys inundate their guys with so much data because of the stuff that we're doing, because they're trying to copy it. It's not the same thing. You're not the same person. You're not on the same level. And that's not meant to be disrespectful. It's just a fact. Like my guys have 15, 20 years of pro experience. Your guys are still trying to figure out how to be Divisional 2, and they were Division 3 last year. And before that, they just bought their first fucking Tipman. So,
like I wanted in semi-pro the guys to watch film, but only to understand basic stuff. Like I don't need you. I want you to see where guys are lined up on the box. But as far as what they do once they get to the spot, I don't care. I just want you to see where people are lined up off the box. I want you to look for if a guy's like hip is against the spot and then he stays against it with his gun down. Is he going to stay there when he pulls up? Does he stay on the edge of the box? If he does, that's an easy kill. That kind of shit is what I wanted him to watch off the box. And then I always set the tempo in semi-pro. Like my whole plan was I'm going to set the tempo. They're going to have to change to what I'm doing. I'm not changing what they're doing.
Facts.
Right. So like, whereas in pro, it's totally different.
Yep.
I'm going to call a play. You're going to call a play. And then we're going to probably change a couple of things before the next point. Whereas in semi-pro, I may change one. Like instead of the guy going to this Dorito, he's going to that Dorito. And I may turn this gun inside, and that's it.
Dude, World Cup, with the Mutiny year, that year I was with them, we legit did the same plan from the very first match to the final match of World Cup that we won.
Sure.
I didn't do shit different because you couldn't beat me at it. We were going to do it, and the break. So what I did with those guys is I'd give them the break, and then obviously we'd go through the progressions where you should go, what you should do. But all of that shit changes based off of what happens on the break, right? If we shoot 2 guys, that changes. If we lose 2 guys, that changes, right? So it's kind of hard to outcoach that initial break anyways. You want them to be aware of what the situation is and be aware of what they should do or what they can do, but they have to play paintball.
Right.
Right.
I'm a big fan of keep it simple, stupid.
Kiss.
Paintball is simple. Don't make it difficult. It is a simple fucking sport. Shoot your lanes, shoot the way you're supposed to, do your fucking jobs, and everything will work out just fine.
It's really easy when you have players that have 20 years of experience. Like,
but I did the same thing with that Mutiny year though. Like that Mutiny year, I did the exact same thing.
But in semi-pro, it's different too. Like semi-pro is different. If you are coached well and your players are pretty good, like, again, I don't want to sit here and shit on semi-pro, but the reality is like if you look down there, there's like 2 or 3 good coaches. That's it. Yep. The rest are just kind of there, putting an X behind a spot and pointing a gun one way or the other. And then, and with very little thought into why. Yeah. It's just like, we went here last time and now we're going to go here because I saw it on the pro field. So now we're going to go over here.
Dude, I used to not like when we were coming up as damage. I used to tell my guys, you're not allowed to watch pro games because they would come back to me after the first fucking game they would watch and be like, bro, this is what we need to do. And I'm like, no, it's not. We spent 2 weekends practicing this fucking layout. We know what we're going to do. We're not switching it because you watched Oliver Lang run down the inside of the snake and shoot 3 dudes. That's not going to happen. Stop it. Like that was
none of you are Oliver Lang.
Right. That was my point. I'm like there's levels of this game and you're not at that level. We're going to go do this basic bitch shit because that's what you're at. So keep it simple though. That's a big, big thing. Keep it simple.
Well, Joey, we have been in this for an hour and a half. This is our longest episode yet.
Sorry, I don't shut the fuck up very easy.
You're
no,
good.
But it's been great. This is what the people want.
Mike, do you have any other questions?
I don't. I'm telling you, I was looking forward to this. I didn't even get to ask half my questions because he answered them through some of his other comments. So I was like,
I do have a question for you as well. I have one for Mike. One, are you guys making any changes this year? Are you doing a tryout? Are you adding?
We are. If we were to do a tryout, it would not be open. It would be invitation only. And I have, I've already got those people identified based off the fact that if I were not to have all 10 returning, but it seems like I have all 10 returning. So I will have one more conversation this Thursday, which will determine that finally. So.
All right. Ryan, what's going on with you guys? Are you making any changes? Are you adding any players?
Yes.
That's too easy.
Yeah. So
we are making changes and
drastic?
we maybe probably by the time this episode comes out, those changes will have been made. Yeah.
Cool.
Good chance we're making some changes.
Cool. My sources are on point then. I just want to make sure. You just got to verify these things, I got
lots
of sources all over.
I've not been shy. I haven't been shy about saying, I'm again, I coach from a data perspective. I have scouted every single match that Diesel has played for the entire year. And I have created statistics around how many people die off the break versus how many they shoot, even mid-game, up mid-game, down mid-game, win or loss. Did they get a penalty? Who was it if they got a penalty? And then compiled, smashed all that information together to give me real numbers on who gets penalties, at what point in the game did they get it, Were we up or down bodies? At what time in the match was it? So there's a few things that need to happen. So yes is the answer to the question. Yes, we will probably make changes, and yes, that will probably mean we will have to add a body or two.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. It should be an interesting offseason. I think the first dominoes have fallen, but I think there's going to be a landslide of shit hitting the fan pretty soon.
I think that, and not probably from us, but I do think we haven't even scratched the surface of what I believe the offseason is going to look like. So Mark's been in Bangkok, right? Yep. So like one of the reasons nothing really has happened with us for the last week is Mark's not here.
Oh, I know.
So do what?
It's like, oh, I know.
You know, I know. They're telling him.
So, and you're welcome to text me or call me anytime,
Of course.
I
haven't gotten any ironclad stuff, but I definitely heard some rumblings that, and I expected it. I honestly, if you went in there and kept it all the same, I would probably text you, you're an idiot. You gotta make, I mean, you have to make changes, right? Like obviously that program needed a facelift of types and you're the new face of it. So, I know you're smart enough to know that you're not going in there with, what do you want, Mark? Yeah, I'll do what you want, Mark, because that's not who we are.
Yeah, we, Mark and I had a great conversation before we made this decision. And I shared this on the last episode. Like, I wasn't going to coach this year. I was just going to take the year off, focus on the show. And, we're going to do some coaches clinics and some stuff that I think is really important for paintball. And so I wanted to take a step back from coaching and really focus on this stuff. And then maybe I would probably have coached a team in Europe and then just done this.
Mike, what do you really think the chances of him not coaching this year were? Even when he was saying all that bullshit, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it either.
I didn't. It's in the blood, right?
Yeah. To be clear, I turned down a lot of offers to not
coach.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no doubt.
I have no doubt.
Yeah. And the reality of being able to drive to Dallas, that's 2.5 hours from me versus jumping on a, God bless you said this earlier. And, this is 2023 was my 30th year in paintball. I have been on plenty of airplanes. Like I get it when, people haven't traveled a lot, when you get to a point in your life where packing a bag makes you sick to your stomach because you've done it for so long. And you kind of brought this up too. When I was working for National Paintball and then Key Action Sports, I was a central regional director. So I flew like all over the central part of the United States and I was on an airplane all the time. And it was just like
awful.
It was nauseating. Yes. Like
so awful.
I live in Oklahoma City too, which means everywhere I go, I'm connecting. Right. So it just didn't it wasn't going to make a lot of sense to especially, I don't have kids in my house anymore. It's just my wife and I, and for her to be here by herself for 15 weekends, really 20 to 22 weekends, when you look at the off season stuff, and then, the long break, the practices in between, and then be on an airplane 2 additional days. So 1 more day before and 1 more day after, just really didn't make a lot of sense. And it wasn't very exciting. So I was, financially, the offers were fine, but I make plenty of money in my real life. And it wasn't about the money. This may be Mark's last season as a player. And he knew how to emotionally pull the right strings with me to get me to say yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm excited to coach Clint again. Clint Johnson played on that Texas Storm team in 2010. And I've kind of watched Mark Bankowski grow up, so I'm really excited. Baginski grow up, so I'm really excited to work with him.
Everyone does.
I'm not going to call him that ever.
Thank you.
BJ, I've seen BJ kind of grow up too in the game, and he was on a team called I think they were the Dallas Jets, which was a bunch of guys when we came back in 2010 and rebuilt Texas Storm. He was on that team, and so I'm excited to get to kind of be a part of their story a little bit. And then the reality of having real pros is really exciting, and an owner that's supportive and not that, Mark Franz wasn't supportive. He was, but there's a lot of chaos that comes with Mark. And I'm excited to be with a Mark that's maybe a little less chaos, a lot less chaos.
Yeah. No, I get it. I did the math on it myself. I had some people approach me about potentially doing other coaching stuff, and I put a $25,000 value on me not having to leave and sleep in my bed for practices.
Totally.
So my number plus 25,000, if I'm coming to you, that's the to get me on the dance floor number. And that's
right.
And I think the only reason why I would be okay with that is because I would just take that money and give it to my wife, and she'd be happy. And let's be honest, happily married men understand, like, if your wife's happy, it doesn't really matter. Everything else is easy. So that's where I'm at.
27 years.
Yeah.
27 years I've been married.
I'm at 19 years married. 19 years married, and I got 2 children. The only problem I'm running into now is my kids are at the point where your kids were when you took your break, where they're starting to get into shit now. And it's like, man, like, how do you find the time to do both? And so, but then I just buy them more shit because I have money from coaching and they're happy. So I buy their love. It happens. It's all bribery. Let's be honest. It's all bribery.
I'm doing
Joey,
this all wrong, man. I'm doing this all
Thank
wrong.
you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Stay in the green room. We'll talk as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
Will do.
All right, buddy.
So you want
that
to
was a
take
good
this
one.
Now, Ryan? Oh, dude,
so
listen,
good.
when you got Joey Blute on the show, you get Joey. And that's classic Joey. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I had like 3 more questions to ask, and I was like, I'm just gonna skip them. I'm gonna let him go.
Let him go, man. And that's the thing. I had 3 other questions myself, but he answered them through his, and I wasn't gonna make him say it again because that'll just piss him off.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Join us next week to learn about the 2-coach operation of NYX with Rich Telford and Dan Lee. We'll discuss the roles and how they make it work together. Thank you so much.
You know what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Let's fucking do this. Then do it. Do it 100% because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.